Hey, Paris, thanks for getting your digital in. Before we even look at the individual cells, I'm seeing that this is a nice flow. It's very easy to follow, but I think that the individual cells are too small because it's at times it's a little difficult to see what's going on inside um, the cells, and as we can see here, especially if you kind of take this a little bit, if you're looking at it from any sort of a distance at all. As we can see now, it's just really unclear as to what's happening inside the individual cells unless you're right up on top of this. Now, it's 8.5 by 11, right? So this isn't meant to be viewed from across the room. But nonetheless, I still would like to see a little bit more recognition in the individual cells. So for example, you take this cell right here, because we can see her, the smiley face, we see the light bulbs. But we don't see the little yellow reflections excuse me, coming off the light bulbs. We can see that against her hair, but we can't see what's going on in those light bulbs. So again, I think enlarging that within the frame would be the way to go, which means enlarging the frame itself. Two options, right, to make this to have this take up more of the counter space associated with the shape of the trail. Each individual circle that holds the illustrations would have to be increased in size. That may entail reconfiguring the general flow, as you don't want things to be cluttered, right? All right, now the illustrations themselves, I think you have a good flow. I think we got a hiccup right here. And the reason being, and you're probably not noticing this because you've been probably looking at this for a while now. But what I see here, I see, okay, the distress. Then right here, I see like a woman's tank top hanging here. It looks a lot like a tank top, doesn't it? I know it's not. I know it's a plastic bag, but boy, it just looks like so I'm wondering if you should maybe, I don't know, think about that. Okay, think about that. Run it by a couple other sets of eyes if you have roommates or family or um, somebody that you can share this with and say, what does that look like to you, and get the reaction. Okay, so at that point, we come down here. She gets the idea. Now, I think there's some abrupt jumps in the actual narrative itself. Okay, so we go from they're looking at the hoop, then they're looking up and distraught, right? Because we don't know why, right? So right now they're looking at the hoop. We don't know there's not a hoop there because there's no net. It would be covered by her hair anyway. So we don't know there's no rim on the hoop. So we just see them looking at the hoop, and then next thing they're all sad and it looks like a tear, and then we see the hoop. Shouldn't this come first? Shouldn't we have them looking at this, and then we see there's no hoop there? Then they're going, now what do we do now? You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? So then she comes here. What are we going to do now? All right. So they try the bag. This is kind of a jump right here because we go from question mark to solution. There's no implementation of that temporary solution, right? The one that didn't work. So wouldn't it make sense to add a frame here where she's actually getting the bag, or they show her grabbing the bag? Because I think it's too much of a jump to go from what am I going to do now to a solution, right? So solution doesn't work; it blows away in the wind. Another idea. Now, again, here, shouldn't there be a transition between her getting the idea and maybe walking, or show her walking into the laundry room, or walking, or somehow we need more interaction, I think, in a lot of these frames. Okay, so I think the human interaction would be interesting. So for example, this frame would make sense if we went from here to here, then showed a side view of them looking up to see that there's no hoop, right? That way these could be interchangeable. Either one could come first. So we have them looking up at the view, then we have a side view. And then we have this perplexed question mark look. Okay, then then try to have them implement that solution. And then also you should show her or one of them hanging this bag, maybe with a ladder, and then have the wind kind of blowing it away. Then over here have some interaction, either him or her walking into a laundry room maybe and grabbing this, and maybe you could even show them dumping it upside down, right? All right, so think about those, and then as far as the illustrations go, shadows and highlights, one thing I find is a little bit odd is these look like older kids. Even they even look like they could be teenagers. I think this would be, I think it would be most effective if these were little kids. So somehow try to make these look like little kids as opposed to young adults or even teenagers. Um, Okay, so those are my recommendations moving forward. Oh, one more thing is as I said, you want to add variety, a perspective of the view of the main characters, right? So, and this is great. So this is behind, this is in front, but then we go. That's the only views we have in front of or behind. No side views. Let's get some side views. One there, maybe one here, maybe one here. Do you see what I'm saying? And then also change up the expressions on their faces because it looks like that basically that you've just taken this face and pasted it right here. So I would say change up their expressions considerably on their face. That'll add more engagement too. All right, there you have it. Paris, if you have any questions at all, let me know and I'll be glad to clarify. I'll be in. I'll be out of the studio Saturday, but that's about it. So anything you want to run by me between now and final submission, please let me know. Thanks very much.